Now we will learn about the inference for proportions. In this, we will cover two different topics, that is inference for single proportion and comparing two proportions. So sampling distribution of a sample proportion, and we have already seen this in earlier chapter and in the sampling distribution when we were learning. And here we can revise it, and it's saying that sampling distribution of a sample proportion. Choose an SRS of size n from a population of size capital N with proportion P of successes. Let P hat be the sample proportion of successes. Then the mean of the sampling distribution is P. And the standard deviation of the sampling distribution is under root P into 1 minus P divided by N. As n increases, the sampling distribution becomes approximately normal. And for large n, and P hat has approximately the normal distribution with mean P and standard deviation root P into 1 minus P divided by N. And all this we have already seen, that from a population, if we are taking again and again samples, and from that samples we are going to calculate its statistics. Here we are taking proportion, and from that proportions, if we plot our graph, we can see here the standard deviation would be under root P into 1 minus P divided by N, and the mean would be P. And P is the population proportion P of successes. So interval for a single proportion, and we already learned this formula from last few weeks. So it would be statistics. So earlier we were using mean, but here now we will use proportion plus minus critical value multiplied by standard deviation of the statistics. And the sample proportion P hat is the statistics we used to estimate is P, that is proportion of the population. When the independent condition is met, the standard deviation of the sampling distribution of P hat is sigma P hat is equal to root P into 1 minus P divided by N. We should memorize this formula. Earlier we already used this formula though in chapter 5. And then since we don't know P, we replace it with the sample proportion P hat, as you already know, and this gives us the standard error, that is of the sample proportion, and we already know what is the standard error. Earlier we were representing it as S x bar, and now it's root P hat multiplied by 1 minus P hat divided by N. Earlier we were using P, here we are using P hat. Now the question arises, how would we find the critical value for our confidence interval? If the normal conditions is met, for the normal conditions, you can revise your chapter sampling distribution, and in that there are assumptions, so you can see if it's following or not. Or let's see what we can do here. If the normal condition is met, we can use a normal curve to find a level C, capital C in confidence interval. We need to catch the central area C under the standard normal curve. So this is the standard normal curve. Here is the area, and I think they are taking alpha 0.05. So sometimes if you can do two things. I already told you, if you can divide alpha into, or you can multiply p-value by 2. So that would be the same thing. So here's a standard normal curve, and this is containing 0.95 probability. And now we will see it's saying that, for example, to find a 95% confidence interval, we use approximate critical value of 2 based on 68, 95, 99.7 rule. Using a standard normal table or a calculator, we can get a more accurate critical value. So here it's Z critical. You already have the table for the Z critical values for one tail, two tail, and moreover, you also have the option for the both tails. So it's 1.96 minus and 1.96 plus. And here the critical value is 1.96 for a 95% confidence level. So large sample confidence interval for a single proportion, find the critical value Z. For an 80% confidence interval, assume that the normal conditions are met. Because we want to capture the central 80% of the standard normal distribution, we leave out 20% or 10% in each tail. Search table A to find point Z critical with area 0.1 to its left. So here it's telling you about the Z values. So it's saying that for the Z critical, it's checking because it's 0.8. So we are considering 0.1. And where is the 0.1? The nearest value is 0.1003. So this is showing the critical value minus 1.2. So I think with the software minus 1.2, and here it's 8, so minus 1.28 and 1.28, and already we got the value. So now after getting the critical value Z, our confidence interval for the population proportion P is this formula. And for one sample Z, as we have already seen about the one sample t-test and two sample t-test, now it's saying for the population proportion, one sample Z interval for a population proportion. Choose an SRS of size n from a large population that contains an unknown proportion P of successes. An approximate level C confidence interval of P is this formula. And Z critical is the critical value of the standard normal density curve with area C between minus Z star and Z star. Use this interval only when the number of successes and failures in the sample are both at least 10. So this is the condition before applying that. Here is an example, and it's saying a Pew survey asked a panel of experts whether or not they thought that robotic devices will displace more jobs than they created by 2025. 910 out of 1896 experts said yes. Calculate and interpret a 90% confidence interval for the proportion of experts who believe net jobs will decrease due to robotics. So we already know our sample proportion is 910 over 96, it is 0.48. And this is an SRS. There are 910 successes and 986 failures. Both are greater than 10. And here we can see for the value that is we are going to get for 0.48. So here we can see it is 0.0505 and it is 0.0495. So it would be in between. So for a 90% level, Z critical is 1.645. I already have given you the table. I already told you this. So you don't need to do this thing again and again. You can memorize it. So now our formula is P hat plus minus Z critical multiplied by under root P hat multiplied by 1 minus P hat divided by N. So we put all the values and here is our formula, and from that we got the value 0.480 plus minus 0.022, and after getting two values, one by adding, one by subtracting, so it is for 0.458 to 0.502 for the 90% confidence interval. So here we are saying that we are 90% confident that the interval from 0.458 to 0.502 captures the actual proportion of experts in the population who believe net jobs will decrease due to robotics. So +4 confidence interval for a single proportion, and as we have seen this formula, and for a sample proportion P is easy to calculate and understand because it is based directly on the approximate normal distribution of the sample proportion. Unfortunately, confidence level from this interval are often inaccurate unless the sample is very large. The actual confidence level is usually less than the confidence level you ask for in choosing Z critical. So there is a simple modification that is almost magically effective in improving the accuracy of the confidence interval, and we call it as the +4 method because all you need to do is add 4 imaginary observations, 2 success and 2 failures, and therefore it is the +4 estimate of P is. So it's now we are representing it with P tilde and number of successes in the sample +2 and divided by n +4. adding 4 because for the n, for +2 success and +2 failures, it would be 4. And above we are taking success, so we are adding 2. These are somewhat the corrections which help to get the better estimate. So we sometimes do this type of things. So for choose an SRS of size small n from a large population that contains an unknown proportion p, and to get the +4 confidence interval for p, add 4 imaginary observations. So here we are applying the same thing we already have seen earlier. So use this interval when the confidence interval level is 90% and at least n is at least 10 and any counts of success and failure. Now here is a significance test for a single proportion. The z-statistics has approximately a standard normal distribution when null is true, and p-values therefore come from the standard normal distribution. Here is a summary of the details for a z-test for a proportion. These we already have seen from last 2 weeks. So this is saying for an SRS of size n from a large population that contains an unknown proportion p of success. So to test the hypothesis, that is the null hypothesis, is p is equal to p naught, because we are right now talking about the one sample statistics. So here it is p is equal to p naught and we have to compute the z statistics. For that we will do p hat minus p divided by under root p naught multiplied by 1 minus p naught divided by n. Now for the alternate hypothesis, what are the options? Either it could be the proposed value is less than p, or greater than, or it can go both sides. So here for positive values we can see that it's on the right tail, on the smaller values, and that is in the negative tail, and similarly when it can go any direction, it is on the both tail. So here is an example, and it's stating that your company produces a sunblock lotion designed to protect the skin from UVA and UVB exposure to the sun. You hire a testing company to compare a product with your major competitor's product. For 13 of 20 randomly chosen subjects, your product provides better protection. For the remaining 7, the competitor's product does. Do you have evidence to support a commercial claiming that your product provides superior protection? So we want to perform that. P is equal to 0.5, whereas alternate is P is greater than 0.5, where P is the actual proportion of people for whom your product provides the better protection than your competitor's product. So for that, if conditions are met, we should do one sample z-test, and for the population proportion P, and random, we assume the testing company choose a random sample for subject, and normal, assuming null hypothesis is true. The expected number of successes and failures, that is n into p naught, that is equal to 10, and n into 1 minus p naught is equal to 10. Because both of these values are at least 10, we should be safe doing normal calculation. So here we are going to put all the values. The proportion is 13 by 20 and it's 0.65. And test statistics z is equal to p hat minus p naught divided by all standard deviation, and we are going to put all the values, and we got 1.34. And as this is two-tailed, and the desired p-value is twice the one-tailed p-value, so we got 0.1802 by this calculation. And because our value is 0.18 is greater than usual significance, we fail to reject null hypothesis. There is no sufficient evidence to support our proposed advertising claim. Choosing a sample size, earlier we have seen in the other chapters how to calculate sample size. So here we are going to calculate sample size that allows us to estimate a population proportion within a given margin of error. And for the margin of error, the formula is z multiplied by standard deviation, and z is critical is the standard normal critical value for the level of confidence we want. Because the margin of error involves a small sample proportion p hat, we have to guess the later value when choosing n. There are two ways to do this. Use a guess based on past experience or a pilot study, or use p hat is equal to 0.5 as the guess. The margin of error is largest when p hat is equal to 0.5. So here's an example for calculating the sample size, and the question is saying, suppose your university wishes to determine what percent of students are satisfied with the overall campus environment. Determine the sample size needed to estimate p within 0.03 with 95% confidence. The critical value for 95% confidence is 1.96 because of 95% confidence, and because the university wants a margin of error of no more than 0.03, we need to solve the equation. So n is equal to z critical divided by m multiplied by p critical and 1 minus p critical. So here we are going to put all the values, and we got 1067.1. We round up to 1068 respondent to ensure that margin of error is no more than 0.03 at 95% interval. Earlier we have seen, because p, it's not giving you the p value, but earlier we have seen for the sample size we can take p as 0.5. So we are calculating with the margin of error along with the z critical value, and this is 0.5 multiplied by 0.5. Now we are looking forward for choosing a sample size for a significance test. In chapter 6, we introduced the idea of power for a significance test. These ideas apply to the significance test for a proportion from this section. So to find the required sample size for a significance test, we need to specify the value of p naught in the null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis two-sided or one-sided, a value of p for the alternative hypothesis, the type 1 error and the type 2 error. Sample size for comparing two sunblock lotions. In the earlier example, we found our product was better than the competitors. However, we failed to reject the null hypothesis. Let's suppose the true value is 0.65 and that we plan on a two-sided test at a 5% significance level and 80% power. And here software output indicates n is equal to 85 or 89 should be used. So we are getting the help from the software for the number of people. So it's n is equal to 85. So in this part we will compare two proportions. Here in the t-test we did the same thing, and it was the two sample t-test. Now it's the two sample problem with proportions. So suppose we want to compare the proportions of individuals having certain characteristics in population 1 and population 2. Let's call these parameters of interest P1 and P2. The ideal strategy is to take a separate random sample from each population and compare the sample proportions with that characteristics. What if we want to compare the effectiveness of treatment 1 and treatment 2 in a completely randomized experiment? And this time the parameter P1, P2 that we want to compare are the true proportions of successful outcome for each treatment. We use the proportion of success in the two treatment groups to make the comparison, and here is a table that summarizes two situations. To keep a thing in the mind is whatever one sample or two sample problems we are doing, we are comparing it with for the population. We are not studying it for the sample. So similarly here it's saying population or treatment 1, 2 parameters are P1, P2, whereas statistics is P hat 1, P hat 2, and sample sizes N1, N2. Now from the sampling distribution of the difference between proportions, choose an SRS of size N1. From the population 1, proportion of success P1 and independent SRS of size N2 from population 2 with proportion of success P2. Shape the samples. When the samples are large, sampling distribution is approximately normal. And center, the mean of the sampling distribution is P1 minus P2. Earlier we have seen. And that is the difference in sample proportion is an unbiased estimator of the difference in population proportions. And for the spread, that is the standard deviation, the value would be under root P1 into 1 minus P N1 plus P2 1 minus P2 divided by N2. So here is the formula. Is the sampling distribution is P1 minus P1 hat minus P2 hat, and for the standard deviation we got the formula under root P1 into 1 minus P1 divided by N1 plus P2 1 minus P2 divided by N2, and we are going to take under root. Similarly, for the confidence interval, we will calculate, and for the standard deviation we already know this is the formula, and for standard error, it's because this is for the population and this is for the sample, so it's P hat and here it's P, and they are both similar, except the P and P hat. So here is an example, and a recent study compared the proportions of young women and men who use Instagram. A total of 537 young women and 532 young men were surveyed. 328 of the women and 234 of the men stated that they used Instagram. For the women, the proportion who uses Instagram is 0.61. For the men, the proportion is 0.4398. Now there are two populations. Our parameter of interest are P1, the proportion of all young women, and P2, the proportion of all men. We want to estimate the difference at a 95% confidence level. Then we should use a large sample confidence interval for P1 minus P2 if the conditions are satisfied. Data came from a random sample of 1069 young women and men. We check the counts of success and failure. Note that normal conditions are met because they are all greater than 10. So because the conditions are satisfied, we can construct a two sample Z interval for the difference P1 minus P2. And here it's a looking very complicated formula, but it's the same what we were doing earlier. This is the standard deviation, this is the critical value, and this is the statistics. It's a sample statistics. So it's P1 minus P2, it's P1 hat minus P2 hat plus minus Z critical, and the standard deviation formula, and we will put all the values in it, and we will got the value of 0.112, 0.230. And now we are saying that we are 95% confident that interval from 0.112 to 0.230 captures a true difference in the proportion of all young women and men who use Instagram. This interval suggests that more young women than young men use Instagram by between 11.2 and 23 percentage points.